Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to another creepy conspiracy video. Today's video is going to be pretty cool in the sense that I have really been looking forward to doing it for quite a while now, and I finally sat down and got a chance to do it. I just want to give a quick warning that two of the topics I discussed today, they can be a little bit disturbing, as well as the images that are shown in the video footage. So please, if you are easily disturbed or troubled, rather not watch the video today. It could be a little bit sensitive for you. Before we get going, I'd like to give a massive shout out to all my fans and followers across all my different social media platforms, from Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook, as well as Twitter. You guys are super awesome. You make the show interesting for myself. You make it worthwhile doing. So please keep sharing the love and hitting the liking and sharing button. Another thing I'd like to ask all my fans today is, I'm looking at changing the name of the show from just Creepy Conspiracies to something else. YouTube is pretty sticky with their algorithms, and they don't really like the word conspiracy. A lot of videos get blocked or pushed down in the search bar because of that. So if there's another name that can best describe my show, I would really appreciate all your options and views, and then let me pick one of them and I'll be using it in my show from now on, and I'll definitely give you all the credit you deserve. Alright, let's jump straight into today's show. Number 1. Parallel universe. One of the most exciting and enticing topics to speculate about is the idea that our reality, our universe, the way it is and the way we experience it, might not be the only version of events out there. Perhaps there are other universes, perhaps even with different versions of ourselves, different histories and alternate outcomes than our own. When it comes to physics, this is one of the most exciting possibilities of all, but it's so far from certainty. Here are a few examples of apparent parallel universes. The man from Taurid, often considered to be the most well-documented instance of an interdimensional traveler. In 1954, Japan's Haneda Airport was checking passports of passengers, just as they usually would. One passport was a bit different though, and it belonged to a well-dressed businessman who spoke fluent French and Japanese. The alarming difference that made security officials pull the man aside was the fact that he somehow seemed out of place. They began to question him, assuming that he was a trafficker of some sort. The man was confused by this. He said that he was from Taurid, and that it was a country situated between France and Spain. Customs didn't believe him, and he didn't believe customs when they said that Taurid didn't exist. Annoyed by this, he showed them his passport, which was from, yep, you guessed it, Taurid. The man, who was increasingly distraught, was desperately trying to prove that he was correct. The passport had a number of official stamps from other countries, all of which appeared to be legitimate. The passport itself didn't seem fraudulent. However, it was from a country that never existed. Customs officials took him to a local hotel to spend the night where they investigated the matter. The hotel room was guarded so he wouldn't escape. And if he was a trafficker, he definitely would try to get out of there. Well, he agreed and entered the room. And this was the last time that anyone saw the man from Taurid, or any of his passports. Both he and all of his personal effects disappeared that night, despite many of them being miles away in the airport security's hands. That is absolutely crazy to think about. Where did he go? Where was he from? I mean, surely if he came from another country, well, like he said, Taurid, he would have had to have that stamped. And if that was stamped in his passport, how do you explain that? I mean, what happened? Was he in flight and something happened, a wormhole opened? I don't know, guys. That is pretty crazy. I've always loved this story. It's completely freaky. Anyways, let's move on. The cabin in Peru. Peru's Markawasi stone forest has been reputed to be a doorway to another dimension for centuries. It's to be expected, considering how many of the stone formations have eerie resemblances to human faces, religious symbols, and more. It's also known for having travelers who journey there and never to be seen again. According to Dr. Raul Santino, one woman decided to brave the forest with friends, despite being warned about strange disappearances in the area. She and her friends on the trip saw a strange cabin in the middle of the stone forest and could hear people having a party inside. They looked inside the cabin's windows and saw that they were all dressed in 17th century clothing. Entranced by the strange revelers, the woman had tried to enter the cabin. She was halfway in before her friends pulled her back out. Almost immediately, she realized that she was paralyzed on the side of her body that had entered the strange cabin. Dr. Centino diagnosed her with hemiplegia, which is basically paralysis of one side of the body, and suggested that her quick trip into another dimension may have permanently altered her nervous system for good. I don't know, that story sounds a bit weird. I try to do a bit of more research about it, and all I get is the same story over and over again. I'd like to find out that Dr. Centino was a real doctor and not just some fictitious made-up name. Nonetheless, that was pretty weird and makes you wonder what happened, and I think trying to get inside to another dimension or access it physically perhaps could have bad ramifications for your body as well as your soul. So if you see something like that, guys, and you think it's from another universe, just avoid it at all costs. But I think the whole idea about parallel universes is so interesting. I mean, just to think that every decision you make, it could alternate your future. Whether or not to drink that extra cold drink. It could make you go to the toilet and you could slip on the way to the toilet and fall, hit your head. There's just so many different things that could happen. The amount of universes that would be absolutely infinite. So, yeah, it's always fascinated me for many years. What do you guys think about it? Once again, guys, a warning going out before I continue with this segment. The footage shown here, it could be triggering for some people and a bit disturbing, so if you don't like that kind of thing, rather just skip it. Anyways, here we go. Number 2, Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam travelled to Los Angeles from her hometown of Vancouver, British Columbia, in January 2013, just for about a week of sightseeing and adventure. But then soon took a mysterious and deadly turn. After checking into the Cecil Hotel, the 21-year-old tourist vanished without a trace. Then on February 19, 2013, a hotel maintenance worker made a grisly discovery when he found Lam's body inside a water tank on the roof of the hotel. How she died became a subject of intense speculation and conspiracy theories. Much of the rumor centered on elevation surveillance video, released by the police of course, and of Lam's odd behavior before her disappearance. The video shows her clad in a red hoodie inside an elevator pushing buttons for multiple floors, peering out of the open elevator and cautiously stepping out while waving her arms. You can see that the behavior by her was really creepy. And 4 months after her death, the LA Coroner's Office determined that there was no evidence of physical trauma. The manner of death was classified as an accidental drowning, and the case was closed. But the mystery remains. How did she get onto the locked roof and into that water tank? In September, Lam's parents filed a wrongful death suit, claiming the hotel failed to inspect and seek out hazards in the hotel that had presented an unreasonable risk of danger to her and other hotel guests, and seeking an unspecified damages and burial costs. The hotel argued it could not have reasonably foreseen that Lam might have entered the water tanks, and that since it remained unknown how Lam got into the water tank, no liability could be assigned for failing to prevent that. In 2015, the suit was dismissed. This is just crazy and just shows sometimes how certain cases can get completely overlooked by the police. I'm not too sure, obviously, what investigation has gone into it, but it is disgusting to see the poor pain the family has had to go through regarding this. Some things that stand out to me is, number one, obviously, is her behavior in the elevator. You can clearly see something's wrong. She's clearly shook. It looks like, I don't know, it almost looks as if she's speaking to a ghost or an unknown entity. And how did she get into a locked water tank? They say accidental drowning. No, that was not accidental. She didn't accidentally climb up there and somehow put herself in that water tank and to close the roof behind her. Guys, come on. I mean, it's just crazy. And imagine staying in that hotel, because this is how they figured out something was wrong. The people started complaining in the hotel that the water started tasting funny and looking funny and smelling funny. And it's because her body was obviously decomposing and rotting in the water tank. Oh my gosh, that is completely creepy to think. Very traumatizing. I don't know. I just hope that someday someone out there knows what happens and lets the family know, even if there's no actual justice in terms of the law. I just hope her family gets some sort of comfort from this. Number 3. Keneka Jenkins. Keneka Jenkins was celebrating with friends at a party that took place in room 926 of the Crown Plaza, Chicago O'Hara Hotel in Rosemont, a suburb of Chicago. The party started at 11:30 that night. It was a Friday evening, September 8th, 2017. An acquaintance who arrived at the party noticed that Jenkins appeared to be swaying back and forth as she embraced him in a hug. Several witnesses reported seeing her drink cognac, but did not see her partake or have any marijuana or any other kind of drugs. Another witness reported that Jenkins wasn't acting like her usual self, noting that she would dance a little, but later appeared to be sad and went to go and sit down. She was briefly seen with others walking through one of the halls in the hotel. Camera footage later surfaced of Jenkins staggering near the front desk at 3:20 a.m. About 1 hour later, Jenkins' friends contacted her mother, Teresa Martin, who arrived at the hotel around 5:30 a.m. to assist in the search. She proceeded to knock on many guest doors from the top floor all the way down to the bottom, until a hotel employee called 911 to complain. Hotel management stated that they could not provide access to video footage from the night before until someone reported Jenkins missing to the police, who officially reported her missing to hotel management at 1:15 p.m. on Saturday. It seems like a little too late to report that, in my point of view. Look, I don't know what happens to people during those times when they fueled with adrenaline, grief and fear, so I don't want to make any judgment just yet on that. Family members later said that the initial police response was lacking in urgency. A first check of camera footage that focused on the entrances and exits turned up absolutely nothing. But at 10 p.m., police spotted footage of Jenkins stumbling through the hotel. Her whereabouts remained unknown until she was found in the hotel's freezer and pronounced dead at 12:48 a.m. on Sunday. She was found laying face down on her side, with one shoe off. There was no sign of trauma other than a small cut on her foot. The temperature inside the freezer was found to be 34 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree Celsius for the fans in South Africa, and this was approximately 2 hours after the doors had been left open. The family's attorney, Jeffrey Fieger, filed a $50 million lawsuit against the hotel and others. He displayed photos of a freezer door, showing that it had a lock button from the outside, and suggested someone may have inadvertently locked the freezer door. This was contradicted by the security camera, which recorded no other footage since August 30th, nor any after Jenkins' footage. The photo seemed not to be of the actual freezer door, which latched shut but apparently had no lock. A white circular handle on the inside, which would have enabled a person to exit on their own, appeared to be in good working order. The attorney asserted that the hotel had the means to lock off the kitchen area, as it had a pair of plywood doors with a padlock. So there you have it, folks. I must just say how angry this story makes me. I just feel like there's been a complete injustice from the police here, as well as hotel staff. I think they could have done so much better. I'm not saying they could have saved her, but sometimes they always say that prevention is better than a cure. And in this case, I think that would have been so relevant. I just feel like they could have done so much more and, obviously just be a bit more compassionate with the family. I know since then the family has done a lot of rioting and public speaking and all of that. And sometimes, yes, I disagree with the things they've been saying. However, you must understand this family has just lost someone that they love dearly and in mysterious ways. And if no one's willing to help you get to the bottom of it, it does leave you with a very distasteful taste in your mouth. So I do pray for both the families of Lam and as well as Elisa. let's just hope some sort of justice and closure comes to the family. Well, there you have it, folks. That's a wrap for today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. These stories are very close to my heart. I've been following them for a while now. If you have any other stories like this, it's not always about the conspiracies, but I like anything that's creepy, weird, and mysterious. So if you have any others that you'd like me to cover, please drop me a message, let me know, and let me try and have a look at it and see what I can come out with. I hope you guys are keeping well. I hope you are keeping safe. And as always, please hit the like button, click subscribe, and share my post out there. Be safe and take care.